The Feast of All Saints. Our sacred scriptures this evening remind us of basically three kinds of categories of saints. It's a very, very ancient feast. It had its first roots in the mid-4th century. And during that time, when Christians were being persecuted for their faith, the celebration of All Saints was focused primarily upon the martyrs, those who lost their lives in defense of their faith. We are reminded of that in the first reading today from the book of Revelation. St. John in his vision sees all these martyrs, during which John is writing this letter. There are vast numbers of persecutions against the Christians. And so early on in the church's history, this feast was focused primarily upon the martyrs of the faith. The second sort of category we are reminded of comes to us in the gospel reading. Jesus, in this great Sermon on the Mount in the Beatitudes, reminds us that there are those who decided to follow Jesus. There are those who gave up everything to follow him and to live their lives in an image of Christ as best as they possibly could. And so these people that Jesus is referring to in the Beatitudes, and as he speaks specifically to his disciples, these people are the people who have been faithful to the Lord Jesus and have been named by the church as saints. They are exemplary in their lives and in their desire to be Christ-like. And so it is fitting that the church names them as such. The third category of saints that we celebrate today, we are reminded in the second reading. St. Paul reminds us that if we have been baptized in Jesus Christ, we are saints. You and I. He reminds us that ultimately all of us have the potential and all of us are called to holiness. And therefore we are the communion of saints living today as we strive to follow in Jesus' example. For St. Paul, baptism connects us with Christ. For the church, it has always been that. And so by our very baptism, we are called to be holy, to be saintly in our lives. I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to claim myself as a saint, but certainly we are all on that journey. And we strive with the grace of God to be holy. So we are reminded of the early traditions of the church, and in the 8th century when the church started naming them and canonizing them, and we who live today. I suspect that all of us have used that term, isn't she or he holy? How holy are they? And we usually are referring to people who exemplify for us, who show us the kind of love and mercy and compassion that we have been taught by Christ. And so we have good reason to celebrate, because we depend upon witnesses to spur us on. We depend upon those great examples in the history of the lives of the saints, in the martyrs of the church, and in the lives of the people that we witness day in and day out. Let us be grateful for the great gift of saints to ignite within us a desire to do the will of Christ.